Welcome in, LSU fans. My name is Bryce Koon alongside Matthew Brune and Shea Dixon as we get ready for another Sunday Rewind for a riveting evening inside Tiger Stadium. Shea got really good money for his media pass. So we do have one more opportunity. Western Kentucky in November. If people are excited, if they want to get in on the action there. Can you disclose the dollar amount? Or was it just Bitcoin?
Free 99.
Bitcoin.
Free 99.
Free 99.
No
You
problem.
love to see it. Love to see it. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Welcome in on a Sunday night. We appreciate you tuning in. LSU, like Brune and I talked about, I guess into the wee hours of the morning on Sunday, LSU won this game 56-10. We're not going to dwell a ton on this game, guys. I did, Shea, since Brune and I kind of talked about it for about 17 minutes on Saturday night, we wanted to kind of get your thoughts and your opinions on what you saw. And just what do you feel like you can take away from a game that was very lopsided, not a lot of fanfare around it, but do you feel like there's anything you can really take away moving forward?
Definitely. I mean, I think you take away that Nuss appears healthy, at least to a degree that we were uncertain of. That doesn't really matter the opponent, right? We talked about it, that can he throw it downfield consistently? Does he have the whip on his passes beyond 12 yards or whatever it was? Is he missing guys who are wide open? And I don't know, Matty B, what was the final count? I mean, he had 20 drops,
25
drops?
of 31, and I believe 4 of them were drops.
Yeah.
So that'd be 2 incompletions on 30-plus passes for 273 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. One of those drops was a touchdown. So that's a very good night at the office when they're also trying to establish the run with, I guess, sidebar takeaway, maybe a new running back, not RB1, maybe RB1, at least Jawan Johnson's involvement. Even in this game, how consistent it was early was interesting. So, we knew everything about the defense. I'm not certain. Y'all can get into it if they're going to have a replacement for Weston Davis at right tackle or not, if he's your weak link there. But the question with this team was Nuss. And more so than can they develop a running game, it's like, whoa, is your Heisman hopeful hurt? And he was, and he didn't look that hurt, at least better than he had Saturday night. So I don't care if they were throwing on air. It was good to see him, hit a lot of those passes. That's all I take.
Yeah. Bernie, anything to add 24 hours after the fact?
Nussmeier was definitely the talking point to me. And, I mean, Jawan Johnson was our player of the game. Shout out to him. Credit to him. Awesome story, obviously, with how great he was in high school and then coming here as a defensive back, moving to running back, moving to quarterback, back to running back. Just an awesome story. And seems like a great kid. So, really happy for him and for this offense. Bauer Sharp, 5 catches, Barry and Brown, 5 catches. They continue to do it. So then you look at like the defensive who played, and it's really incredible just how many snaps they got around to like all the different players. So yeah, really good performance, and I'm excited to see what it means for Ole Miss this week.
I love that you, Bryce, I'm going to have to interject here. Matty B coming with the a hard times old school wrestling promo there for Jawan Johnson. Just like what an accomplishment for Louisiana's all-time record holder, who then waited a year but played in every game last year on special teams and elsewhere, and is now pretty quickly carved out a role.
Oh, what a story!
He's not a 6-year senior, Matty B. Let that man live.
What a story! He just coming
it's
over
unbelievable.
Here. Look, last year John Emery tears his ACL. They throw him
true,
back
and
there.
That's what happened.
Boom, he's ready to play at running back all of a sudden. This year, JT Lindsay's situation happens. Boom, throw him at running back. It doesn't matter. He's there. He's ready to go. Cool, let's do it.
He did take a quarterback snap against Bama, didn't he? He got that for 10, 11-yard gain.
I honestly don't remember.
Last year, ready for this.
That in the 60-point blowout loss, I do not remember that one, but it probably happened.
Yeah. I remember my first job. I went back and watched that Alabama podcast that you and Shea did, and Brune was heated. Brune, any final thoughts, though, by the way, on the Aaron Burrell not getting the opportunity to kick the 59
No, does Shea have a thought on it?
Yeah, Shea, do you have a thought on that? Because Brune had multiple.
We're in the Bengal Tiger live in-game thread, and all of us had the same reaction as everyone who's listening that was in the thread or was just listening, it was like when Ramos went out there, I was like, at first I was doing the math. I was like, that's like 60 yards. And then he kicked it to the goal line, maybe.
Yeah.
And it got returned. And then you got someone ejected for targeting. So it's a bad decision everywhere. But the only thing I thought was like, wait, he couldn't have just like mishit that. Like, certainly he's not routinely chipping in 60 yards. Like, if there were, I knew Ramos would be their only kicker, but if there's ever a time for a 60-yarder, put Aaron Burrell in there. Let's see what he can do.
In an FCS game, just
it was right down the middle, just to the 2-yard line or whatever.
I told Bryce on the post game last night. It was the funniest part, and this is, I mean, not funny, but the Southeastern guy wasn't lined up like under the goalpost. He was on the goal line.
He was like on the floor.
He thought he was too deep. He was like, I should move up some.
Yeah, and so
I'm not hating on Ramos. I just thought it was a wild decision of like. Yeah. And they're really well coached on special teams. I don't know. So maybe he does hit some 60-yarders, but boy, that one came as short as I expected it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was weird. Very weird. Brune did break his glasses, so we are taking up a fund. If you want to buy Brune some new glasses.
All over Aaron Burrell?
Yeah, all over Aaron Burrell. Actually threw them. They're still, the little window where you look out, Brune, that cup was out there. They're just sitting there actually. So if we could get like a long pole or a hook to get them off, maybe you could resuscitate those. But it is
Bryce. Okay, so I'm gonna imagine you're not disagreeing on Nuss looking more healthy than he was.
No. I wrote about it today. I thought
yeah, you said it. So what about Jawan Johnson? What is the take here? And let's imagine Caden Durham, who evidently just has a high ankle sprain, or not just, but just has an ankle sprain. Let's imagine he's healthy right now, like before he even maybe was questionable for this Ole Miss game. What does this Jawan Johnson Southeastern heavy amount of hot hand carries tell you?
I said this last night on the post game, and I'll stand by this. We've got to stop ignoring it. And I think that and for me personally, I was kind of like, all right, this is fun. This is cool. When is Harlem Berry going to get touches? And look, Berry obviously has some room to grow, they feel like. Caleb Jackson just hasn't really beat out Jawan Johnson. But I think this is a case of Johnson's earned the trust. And, they were talking on the broadcast last night. I went back and watched where Jordan Rogers was apparently very adamant about, Caden Durham's vision and maybe some issues there. I know that's been a hot topic on our board. But Jawan Johnson's athletic playmaking ability, like you go back and watch his tape from LCA. I mean, the kid, Brune tried to make it sound like a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
So I didn't want to use that company's name or that LLC's, the profit.
I can't give a man credit
but let's be serious.
He had 14,500 yards in high school with 171 touchdowns.
And he came in as a defensive back. I'm sorry. It's a great story. It's a great story. He came in as a defensive back. He was a quarterback. Then he's a running back. He does it all on the field. It's credit. It's not making fun of the guy.
No, but seriously, I think it's time that we say, hey, this isn't just a gimmick. He's really a part of this offense, and he's getting a more of a defined role. We saw in the Clemson game, they would put him out wide, and they ran the screen pass to him 5 times in a row until Clemson didn't try to stop it, I guess. He's a real part of this, and his vision, his athleticism allows him to be a weapon back there, and so let's get used to it and let's enjoy it. And I like the kid. It was a good interviews this past week when he talked with the media just about how he's going to be playing running back. That's his role now. And I guess it feels weird. Someone on our board posted this, and I wish I had the name and I'd go back and say it. They said it just feels weird. And maybe this is where you're going with this, Brune. It just feels weird because you'll always view him as a DB because that's what he came in as. But really and truthfully, you go back to the high school tape. This is a kid who has made not just some plays, not just a lot of plays, but nearly all of the plays he made were on the offensive side of the football. And Shea, correct me if I'm wrong, Max Preps had him he was a finalist for National Player of the Year. Was that right? Like one of the top 5 guys?
Yeah, he's definitely like Max Preps, Gatorade types player of the year. But yeah, he had he was a running dual threat quarterback at LCA, and they were in the state title every year, and he set the yards and touchdowns records. So yeah, he had the ball in his hand every time. It's what Brian Kelly said after the game, is that being a high school quarterback and running it, you just have that kind of knowledge of a defense vision.
Yeah.
I go back to the Clemson game when we talked about it afterwards, and I think people were a little surprised by Jawan Johnson's involvement, by Xavier Thomas running the football. And I said it then, not like I'm was predicting. I was just being told, like, no, that is what our offense is going to be.
Yeah.
But that also involved Caden Durham. So I don't think Caden Durham's going away here.
No.
Like, I think it's fair to say that this is still an element of their offense. And if it gets hot, gets the run game going, Frank Wilson's going to keep him in. But I can't see Caden Durham getting sidelined here or anything like that.
Yeah. So just real quick to wrap up the point, I agree with Bryce in terms of
defend yourself, please.
This game. No, because I agree with you. I agree. Like, this is, in this case and in the Carius Kern case, I'm cool with putting Harlan Berry and Carius Kern on the side. Like, in my head, putting them on the shelf, because I don't think the staff thinks they're ready. Is that too bold of a take?
Harlan Berry and Carius Kern? No, okay. They've shown that DJ
that
Chester
appears to be the exact
tackle.
case.
So they're not ready. So let's just put them to the side. So now it's Jawan Johnson, running back 2, and it is whoever the hell is at right tackle. Then it's but what I was surprised when I woke up to, and we would get in whenever the hell we get in, and we just go to sleep and wake up, was everyone just bashing Caden Durham the way that they were. And yeah. I wasn't watching the broadcast. Bryce and I are watching the game, and then what I'll do is, if I want to see like a blown up run or a big play or scheme or something, I'll watch it like 10 seconds later on my computer, which is what most
no audio do. Though important.
Yeah, no audio. So we're not listening to Jordan Rodgers apparently killing Caden Durham about how many holes he's missing. Every time I went and watched it, like on a blown up runs and stuff like that, I never really saw that. I didn't see, like, I see what Rodgers was talking about, but in the game, in the moment when I would even watch it back, I was like, there are obvious guys that are getting blown up. There are obvious guys that are missing assignments. Like, this is still a run blocking issue. And so when people brought up the Caden Durham stuff to me, in my head, when I went back and watched some of the clips, it's like, I think it's a guy who doesn't trust his offensive line. Now, we talk about quarterbacks not trusting their offensive line a lot. Running backs can do the same thing. Running backs can think that something should be there and it's not there. And eventually you're like, okay, I got to make something happen. And if you're Caden Durham, 3 straight games of being like, well, I'm not getting any help here, I have to put this on my back, you might start second guessing something. You might start second guessing where a hole could be or can't be. I don't know. And maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe he just missed the holes and maybe he doesn't have vision anymore. That's what I've been told all morning. But I feel like that's kind of an exaggeration of the situation that we're being handed here. Like, Jawan Johnson is a good back, but we don't have to act like Caden Durham can't see a hole anymore. He can't make a play anymore.
I don't think you lose that ability, to be honest with you. I don't think you lose the ability to have vision.
I'm with both of you. I liken it to Nuss, right? When people were pre-Brian Kelly saying, look, he's injured. He's been working through an injury, whatever it might be, in his torso ab area. But of people being, they couldn't be like, I've seen Nuss do it before. Like, he's not doing now what he did last year. Like, Caden Durham's not doing now what he did last year. For Nuss, it was an injury. For Caden Durham, I think it's probably, like Matty B said, a combination. You can pin maybe some of it on him, sure, but to just say, oh, it's this and not anything else, which is blocking or the play call does not these other factors that go into it being a nice play would be unfair here. I think Caden Durham's going to continue to get 7 to 13 touches a game or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think you lose the ability to have vision. I mean, we saw what he did last year. Brune, go back to the Clemson game. You pointed this out to me. How many times do we see that offensive line wash Clemson's front 7 down, right? Yeah. And as they're washing them down, Durham puts his foot in the ground, heads back the other direction. It almost feels like maybe he's bailing on some holes early because that's what he's comfortable with. First thing he sees, and he's like, this is what I've got to do because you've been conditioned now through 4 games. That's maybe the tendency that they have. Now, they're not washing everybody down every single time, but that's probably the biggest thing. And I tried to go back and find, like, supposedly there was like multiple instances where Jordan Rodgers pointed this out. And I mean, I'm not going to go back and watch the whole 3.5 hour broadcast, but, you go back and try to watch some of the clips and maybe where people were talking about it. But yeah, I don't think Caden Durham has lost the ability to be a good running back. It's, get healthy, and he and Johnson are obviously the 1-2 punch for me, at least.
Yeah.
I did want to
show us.
Yeah.
What about Nuss's wheels? What about Nuss pulling the ball down? And then
Matty B with the instant longest career rush tweet. That's the type of stuff the Nuss bus driver captain
And
MVP.
then I
has
got it
to know
wrong.
at a moment's. Oh well,
It's
good job.
26 yards instead of 20. I put 29 yards. It's 26 yards. I got
But
a
it was still his longest
Yeah, it was still his longest.
Okay.
because the other was like 8 or whatever.
-3.
No,
Actually,
he ran for a first down last year and pumped
he's
up the
never
crowd,
gone
so he
forward
did it
in his
again.
career.
One more thing on Nuss, and I talked about this today. I wanted to throw this in here. Middle of the field. When they go to the middle of the field, man, they have some serious success. I posted the passing chart. You can find that over at the Bengal Tiger with PFF kind of putting that out there. Guys, I just think, and we'll talk about this later in the show. I just think it's comfortable for them. They've got the weapons to be able to play there just to get some yards after the catch as well. Bauer Sharp looked really good up in the middle of the field. Imagine Trades Green's going to continue to be a weapon there when he comes back. So I don't know. To kind of cap off, I guess, all of that, running back is, you got Jawan Johnson continuing to emerge. I thought Garrett Nussmeier looked really good. And to me, and Shea, maybe you can talk on this, what we saw out of Nussmeier, a lot of people are going to say, as we're saying this, well, it was against Southeastern. There's plenty of data points to tell you that he's going to do this against the better teams in the conference, some of the best teams in the country. This was more about just looking at what he's doing, making sure he's right, watching him go through his progressions. That's going to carry over, in my opinion, regardless of the opponent.
Yeah, like I said, my kind of opening thoughts here. If it was on air, I just needed to know, why are you short arming a Berry and Brown touchdown against Luedecke? Why are you missing Aaron Anderson and Bauer Sharp 10 yards down the field when they're pretty open and you're overthrowing them? Like, that's not something you've ever done before. And an injury to the, an integral part of your throwing motion would explain that to me.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to have this night, like I said, I don't care who it was. It could have been on air. He was throwing on the money. He was in rhythm. Look, we said his stats. He didn't hit 300. Shouldn't even have played after half. When Tyree Adams missed that block and Nuss gets blindsided, then you start to worry again. But he escaped injury free. He looked in good spirits. And I had heard he had a good practice week, but it's like, okay, let's see then. I want to see old Nuss. This was the first last year Nuss that we've seen.
I mean, think about it. A little less than a month ago, we went to the last practice in Tiger Stadium, which was basically a walkthrough. And Nuss didn't throw a pass the entire hour and a half we were out there.
He handed it off.
In fact, it was all handoffs. And in fact, whenever they did like a little screenplay, he actually like underhand tossed it. I vividly remember. I'm like, oh, he's trying not to throw the ball at all. And so we've come a long way over the past month, I think, of Nussmeier's actual health.
From soft tossing to completing a majority of your passes from that intermediate to high range. Yeah, you're right.
I think to wrap up my take here would be what Brian Kelly said was we just have to get to the bye week. And that was before he had evidently a good week this past week. And then he looks really good against Southeastern. So now it's okay, make it through Ole Miss and then you get to rest. And that should be enough to get you back to, 100% or whatever you're going to be at maxed out this year. He should be there, 2 weeks from now with only one game to play.
Any thoughts on Michael Van Buren? Board was kind of happy with him. I
think, look, I'm not going to get into is he the quarterback next year? The portal talk, we're 4 games in, 1-0, right? As BK would say. So 1-0, they've been 1-0 4 times now. It just tells me what I guess it would tell everybody is that regardless of opponent, like Kelly said, look, he had some zip on the passes. He was good in tempo. He clearly has some legs. Loves the spin move. Like any good amateur, EA college football player, he's mashing the spin move every time he gets the chance to. But it just tells me that if Nuss got hurt this year, or what, if Nuss wasn't your quarterback, that you wouldn't lose every game. This is someone who's going to keep you competitive when your defense and special teams already carry you anyways. So that I didn't know that answer before. I had seen him play at State last year, but I don't know. He could have come out in this game and been 5 of 17 and gotten sacked a couple times behind a third string of the line, and you'd been like, damn, they're screwed. Uh-oh. And I didn't walk away with that feeling.
Brune, who spams the button more? Michael Van Buren hitting the spin move or Bauer Sharp hitting the hurdle?
just hurdling it nonstop. That's a glitching out hurdling.
That's a tremendous question, Bryce. That's why we pay you the big bucks right there. Because that is a good question. Bauer Sharp tries jumping over everybody. That's good.
Did you have any thoughts on Van Buren though?
No, yeah. I mean, he looked good. I definitely, like Shea said, you don't want to get into what next year looks like or anything like that because who knows? And it's going to be such a different situation. But I do feel a lot better about the backup quarterback situation. Honestly, in fall camp, and again, they're going against the LSU defense in fall camp, so all of it was with a grain of salt. But like, I think there were like legitimate struggles for him, which is not a shock considering the talent on the defense. But it was good to see him go out there, sling it, run the ball, and make some plays. We know what he can do. We know he's a gamer. I mean, we saw him last year, so I feel it was good to see.
I thought and I keep referencing BK. Look, he gets to see it more than any of us, and he knows more about football than any of us. So I guess a good person to reference in this case. But it's like Matty B said, we've seen it before, and I guess they see it in practice. But he did go out there cold. Like Nuss plays wire to wire usually. Like he's wire to wire at every game this year. So 4 games in, you go in the third quarter behind like the third string O line, and you like do very well. 10 of 12 for 122 and 1, and you run well and score a touchdown. Then that's about, I think BK said, like, look, that was impressive that he kind of picked up where he left off without actually any live in-game reps. And we've seen it before in the SEC. So, like Matty B said, I feel better about the backup quarterback situation for this year than the unknown that I had of a freshman starting for State when another Chapin got hurt type thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well,
a not talented State team last year.
They're undefeated, by the way.
4-0, baby.
4-0 with a big win over the Sun Devils.
Yeah, they're back.
They also front-loaded their schedule. They haven't played an SEC game yet, so I guess we'll see how it goes.
They beat Arizona State. That's all that I needed to see. Mississippi State is
electric.
Back.
Electric finish.
All the SEC teams are good now. Nobody's bad.
Except Kentucky and South Carolina?
Nope. Everybody's good. I have an SEC bias now. Sorry.
Florida?
All of them.
Florida.
Florida's great. All right, LSU beat Florida.
How about Clemson?
LSU might have broke Clemson and Florida.
The one thing we're not going to ever get into on this pod is because this happened in week 1 and this happened in week 2 and this in 3 and
you don't want to
4,
go down transitive property holes.
Saying, that we have such a small sample size that's what we need to rely on.
Yeah.
I don't even know if LSU is elite or great. I can't be going to another level of mathematics here and involving other teams.
Yeah, I mean, who's even good?
I mean, Georgia Tech beat Clemson, for God's sakes. I think
Bryce, no, for real. At this point. Like, who is good?
Who's good?
I don't know.
I have
no idea.
Miami?
There's nobody out there
that's pretty good. Who knows?
Oregon's clicking. I get, but like,
Shea, I think you
have to judge it with Penn State. I'm not sure how great they are. You know what I mean? I'm not out here expecting 15-0, but I don't.
The Calgary died on Saturday night to San Diego State.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
I don't see an Ohio State from last year team, even one that kind of sleepwalk 2 games and you lose to Michigan. That's not good.
Yeah.
But you're going to sweep the playoffs because it's like, boy, if that team's clicking, they're good. Hell, LSU could be that team. I'm not nuanced on everybody, but what if LSU's offense starts clicking? We've already agreed that we think they have one of the best defenses. They're clearly good enough on special teams. Hell, they're hoarding all the best punt and kick returners in the SEC. We're just talking about punting and kicking. What happens, Matty B, if Nuss goes 2024 mode and these guys don't drop balls and you run the ball well enough to where you're at 100 and something every game, but your actual passing game's like moving it up and down the field? Because let's not forget, before Southeastern, we were questioning if they could throw it past 12 yards.
Yes. Or if they knew how to.
I don't know if every other team out there has got that sort of question mark of like, whoa, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Do we I guess Ole Miss will be the definitive answer. If we think that all they do is score, well, then you got to keep up with them. So,
yeah, that's a great segue. Talking a little bit Ole Miss. Before we do that, I mentioned the Calgary. I got mad at BetMGM, but I do love them because they're a presenting sponsor, and we love what they do each and every single week. You can check out BetMGM. You can get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if you do not win. The reason I had a nice 5-leg parlay rocking money line algorithm, couldn't pull it out on Saturday night. But if you want to take part in what we've got going all season, especially obviously NFL's in full swing, we've got college football. They've got great stuff. Every single time you make a wager at BetMGM, you earn reward points. They can be redeemed for anything, whether it's bonus points or you can be used for converted MGM reward points as well. They can be used towards dining, shows, hotel rooms at over 20 MGM properties across the country. So make sure you check out BetMGM. But you know what, fellas? Shout out Brune. He's undefeated in Friday lines. Final lines. And Addie, 5-0. So who's going to blink first? Brune or my daughter?
Not me. Not me.
Well, we need a heads-up pick here.
You tell her
we can match sides.
Brune did say in the press box, he goes, can you get your daughter to pick like 4 games and I can build a parlay off of that? I will say this. I had someone text this to me today, and they were using BetMGM. This is great. They texted me this. They said, hey, I just want to let you know that if you put $100 on a parlay of what your daughter has picked through the first 5 weeks of the season, including week 0, you could put in 100 to win 1743. I was like, all right. So
trying to make us money here, and you're not letting Addie make us money. So
that's a BetMGM graphic for sure.
Let's get some higher ups.
If you would tail this man's newborn child, you'd be upset.
She's like a year and a half.
It'd be more impressive if she was newborn. She went 8-4 through the first 6 months of her life. By the way,
you get it.
So, all right,
let's for the comedic purposes, not for fact checking. Bryce, I'm aware that you didn't.
It painted an image that I was like, that she's like can't even move.
She can't even move anything.
Grabbing it.
Isn't she so cute? She said over 60.5. I did make a very bold statement, which is all the rest I'll say on Southeastern, then y'all can talk about it.
Okay.
I think at the end of the first quarter when it's 7-0, I was like, the fact that this was over 60.5 is wild to me. And that cleared so easily when Southeastern scored. Yeah. The other is people say like tale of two halves and all that. Like I was very adamant of like, look 20 minutes into this game and they might be winning 14-21 nothing, but it doesn't look like what you think. It was very labor intensive to get here. And then when you say 56-10, you're like, okay, like 56, I guess. Could have maybe scored a little more, but like y'all gave up 10 to Southeastern. I'm like, no, you don't get it. It doesn't look like that at all. No. It was a complete blowout. They scored 9 touchdowns in a row on them. And they were all third stringers in. So a tale of two, 1 1/4, I guess, a quarter in 10 minutes. And then what happened the rest of the way.
Yeah. LSU's first team defense did not, I said it last night. They had 6 drives, 5 of them went for 4 plays or less, and the other one went for 7 plays, and it was over. So the first 2 offensive drives were scary. We even said on the board, it was like, what happens if LSU goes 3-and-out on the first drive? And then they go 3-and-out on the first drive. We're like, oh no. Oh,
the side of going backwards on the first scripted play of the game on a check down.
Yeah, that's tough.
But yeah, they got it done. So
all right, Bryce, take us where we need to go.
Ole Miss, what are we doing?
Ole Miss dominated Tulane this past weekend, and that was a game that I kind of kept my eye on. Look, we're going to talk with obviously some Ole Miss people this week in depth about what maybe to expect out of the Rebels. Seems like there could be a brewing quarterback battle. Maybe there's no quarterback battle. Maybe Austin Simmons just is going to hang out in red shirt for a year and let this Ferris State legend just light up the scoreboard. But Shea, we'll start with you here. I mean, I don't know how much you've looked at this game, if you got a chance to watch any of this. Ole Miss is going to be I said today it's going to be a test in terms of going back on the road into an SEC atmosphere. I believe, and I need to make sure, and I don't know if BetMGM's released this yet. Maybe
do y'all know the spread? Know. I was going to ask y'all. I didn't.
Is it Ole Miss minus 1.5?
No, I saw a Vegas line that had LSU -1.
It's now it's now Ole Miss -2. No, it's -2 Ole Miss now. It moved overnight.
There we go.
Okay.
It moved overnight to
Put it
Ole
out there
Miss.
and then bet it. Let's see.
So Shea, we'll start with you. What are just initial thoughts on this game, and how where do you feel like LSU is kind of heading into this one, off of I guess 2 straight convincing home wins, 3 straight, well 2 straight. We'll go.
I just needed to see Nuss be able to throw it downfield and hit guys across the middle. Like you said, Bryce, he did that. So I feel better about them as a team right now than I did before they played Southeastern, and I wouldn't have cared what the score was, nor am I referencing it when I say it. So, like, if they were going to get in, I don't know. I think Ole Miss is clearly the best offensive team they played. Florida doesn't have a pulse at this moment, nor does Clemson's offense, which looks completely out of whack, even though they do move the ball. Florida can't even move the ball. That I don't even – what happens, like, if Ole Miss scores 2 touchdowns? Like, we haven't seen anyone cross up LSU's defense and just – just because it's Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, and I'm not like mocking it. I'm being like dead serious. Like, all right, cool. They haven't played a defense like LSU's yet. We know that. So I'm very impressed by the Tulane win. I thought that would be a game, but the defense played well for Ole Miss.
They did.
I don't know if they played so well that poses problems for me with Nuss and the offense and being like, oh, they're only going to get a touchdown again like they did against Clemson or, whatever, Clemson, La Tech games where you're Florida, where you're scoring 20 or below points. I think that this is an offense clearly that on Ole Miss should score more than 20 points. I'm just so curious. I just feel like this is the first test for a defense that is just, I haven't seen them give an inch. So, and I've been impressed by Clemson and when they've stepped up. And now I'm kind of looking, Florida's not good. Clemson can move the ball on offense, and they sort of got ahead of everybody. And this is how you clamp them down. This is what you do. Let's make Klubnik look terrible, and they have. Mm-hmm. But if you go out there and make Ole Miss look, unable to march it down the field, and Lane Kiffin's a smart man, so he'll know better than me. I wouldn't be benching Trinidad Chambliss, not after he's carried me for 2 weeks to 50-point games and wins over Arkansas and Tulane, which, aren't givens. You have to go out there and battle for it. So, look, I could, if Trinidad starts and then they play Austin Simmons and he's healthy or whatever, like that could mean LSU's got their starter clamped down and they're having to go to the other guy to see if they can get a spark.
I'm excited to watch the battle between Lane Kiffin and Blake Baker. I think that is going to be fascinating. It's just, Brune, you and I said this, and I don't want to spoil anything you're going to say, but this was a game you and I both had circled of where, regardless of how good LSU's defense was, there's always the X factor of Lane Kiffin as the play caller and what he can scheme up. And you're always going to wonder in the back of your head. Now, I love LSU's defense. Lane Kiffin makes me a little nervous as I'm walking into Oxford this weekend, but just maybe your thoughts initially on what you've seen so far and maybe some things you're looking forward to.
Yeah, this is by far the best offense LSU's faced. I don't think it's particularly close. I think Lane Kiffin's also the best play caller that they've faced to this point. And yet I'm still confident in LSU's defense not letting them, they're not going to let them. Yeah, they're not going to let them go crazy here. I do think Trinidad Chambliss is really good. I just in the 2 games he's played, I understand it was Arkansas and Tulane. Those are at least athletes. It's not like he's playing against an FCS school out here. It's not like he's playing where Bryce went to college. Like he's playing real teams. And so
dude, we are 300 FPI, okay, buddy? Calm down.
I never remember the name of the college, Bryce, so you have to forgive me.
You don't remember. We've come to realize you don't remember the names of anybody in this sport or anything.
No, I don't.
So yeah. No.
If he has to move Ferris State into his brain, Berry College has to be bumped out of it.
Barry, that's what it is. Barry.
Shea cares. I appreciate that. That makes me. I know where I am in the totem pole. I understand.
So, but no, he has looked like a guy that's moving up from Division II. You never know, if the athleticism will overwhelm him. He's ran the ball really, really effectively. And then I think he's had moments with his arms where you're like, oh, it pops. And I've tried coming up with a comparison in my head. I don't know if either of y'all have, but it's very hesitate to use this player because it sets ridiculously expectations, but it's Kyler Murray-esque in a way. I think in the way he moves and the way he can kind of throw the ball. Now, obviously, he's not Kyler Murray in any capacity, but I kind of see that resemblance, and so that's what I thought of when I see him play. So I do think he's a good quarterback, and I think that they have a very good play caller that will scheme up some stuff that can, maybe hit LSU where they weren't expecting a couple times.
All right, we got the soft stuff out of the way. Matty B, this was the game you predicted LSU will lose preseason.
Yeah, sure. It is.
I'm going to guess that you viewed Ole Miss as a team that no matter, like Austin Simmons, okay, great, like they're going to score touchdowns. They may not be great on defense. They'll just outscore people. And that you viewed LSU as a team that you didn't know what they were yet on defense. It could be somewhere between elite and 60th in the country like they were a year ago. But that Nuss in this passing game, as you said, he's got better receivers now, so that it would have taken a step forward. The emergence of a better quarterback for Ole Miss and a defense that just kind of, slowed down a very good Tulane team versus a worse offense, but a really good defense. Does that change it in your mind?
It's made it very interesting in my head. I'm not obligated legally to make a pick until Thursday. So
what are you going to learn between now and then?
A lot. I'm going to go back and watch Ole Miss Arkansas again, watch Ole Miss Tulane.
Okay.
I'm going to go back and do homework. This is our job. That's what I do.
Do you have a gut feel? Do you have a gut feel study before the film study?
Gut feel, I do think this LSU defense is legitimate, and I think Ole Miss is not as good as they were last year. And I trust Garrett Nussmeier. And so I lean LSU as we sit here on a Sunday afternoon, less than 24 hours from the Southeastern game.
I'm going to give you my hypothetical, Shea, and then maybe we can dive into this. I said this in the press box last night. I said, my biggest question is, I'll say this. If LSU's defense suffocates, and that's the word I continue to use about this defense, if they suffocate Ole Miss, this is about to be a really, really fun year. Like a really, really fun year, regardless of how much better this offense gets. 25 points. If Ole Miss gets over 25 points, where do you sit? If they get close to 30, where do you sit? Like that to me is where the question lies in. Because I think LSU is going to be able to throw the ball on Ole Miss.
Yeah, that'd be a field goal game. I think that if I were to generalize my answer to my own question to Matty B, I would say that how Ole Miss has looked through 4 weeks is about exactly how I thought they would. And that LSU's defense is infinitely better than I could have envisioned them being.
Mm-hmm.
And that I am allowing the Southeastern result to talk me into a reality that the offense throwing the football can be as good as it was a year ago.
Fair,
I probably need to dock myself there a little bit, but that little bit is made up and some by the defense being better than I anticipated. So it's like Matty B said, it makes it tough because Ole Miss is actually exactly what I thought they'd be. A team with Lane Kiffin and a quarterback that can move the ball, and they put up points. And they'll have games where they play well on D and games where they don't, but the good news is they score. I did not see LSU having a defense where we haven't seen anybody move the ball up and down the field on them. And so for that even to become a reality, which let's see if it does become one, but it's tough for me to even envision. Like I've seen the offense go 3 and out like 7 times in a row this year, and the defense just keeps putting the clamps on them. So a healthy defense going into this game, like you said, Bryce, this is going to be fun to watch because if Matty B's right, if this is by far, which it probably is, the best offense you've played, then you're not going to play many offenses that are better, not at getting points. Some are going to attack you differently. Some might be able to run the football nonstop, but I don't think there's a team that can go out and just get points like Ole Miss does. Like that's that much further along than Ole Miss on LSU schedule.
That much further along. Because I was like, dang, Oklahoma.
There are other teams, yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that, like, you wouldn't sit here and say you thought that about South Carolina 4 weeks ago. No one's
Oh,
saying that right
geez,
now.
yeah. Yeah.
Wait, this is the best offense LSU plays this year, right?
I haven't seen enough of Bama to really know.
Yeah, Simpsons looks better, I guess.
Oklahoma, like
I think
Michigan's defense
Mateer,
isn't bad. Auburn's defense
no,
isn't
but
bad.
Mateer didn't look great against a
Mateer.
defense that is formidable
Yeah.
at home.
Okay, so yeah, somewhere in that top.
I mean, his
range.
touchdown pass was a cheating scandal from the weekend, and I'm not going to take it away from him. He ran it in at the end and they scored, but he didn't look like the Heisman runaway.
For sure.
You know who did? Fernando Mendoza. The BetMGM's got him plus 700 now, by the way. In that drubbing of
Indiana will lose.
But yeah, I guess I'm excited. This is now that we can officially turn the page.
Yeah.
As Matty B said, a Lane Kiffin offense that looks up to par versus Blake Baker's defense that is. We're sitting here saying that this has got, I don't even care about the stats. This is a top 5 defense in the country. A top 5 defense in the country versus a team that can put up a lot of points is a pretty intriguing matchup when we have not seen like them play Lane Kiffin 4 times. You know, it's not like they've played a bunch of teams that put up points. They've played some teams that have come out to struggle in almost every game they've played on offense. Like, I don't take that away from LSU. I think they did their job every time, but yeah, we can get into the talk of like, is this the best offense they'll face? It's 1,000,000% the best offense they will have faced so far.
Yes, I concede that for sure. Brune and I were talking about this, and so we can talk about it because Brune's passionate about it. I'm passionate about it. Shea, I don't know how on this level of 1 to 10 you are passionate about this. You'll keep us grounded here. What is, because I've done podcasts now for a month and a half with Shea, and one thing I've realized is that Shea loves his cost benefit analysis. He loves his. I think this might outweigh that, and I think there's a lot of great points to that. Is there any concern? And I'll let you go. I'll let you have the floor, Speaker Brune. That the offensive line play could really be called into question this weekend in terms of the pass rush of what Ole Miss could dial up, because Florida's front 7 is really good, and LSU was able to negate that. Things were able to take over, especially LSU's defense. If the offense blinks, or I should say if LSU's defense blinks, what's your concern level, especially out there at right tackle against some of these guys that Ole Miss has?
I don't think, like, clearly Florida, Clemson have better defensive lines than Ole Miss. Like, that's not
I agree.
a discussion. That's not.
I wouldn't say Clemson has collectively a better defensive line. Individually, talent-wise, fine. But collectively,
Clemson
they've played like Barry College.
Clemson is in a whole different world right now than anything. So I don't even know what to do with that.
But Florida, yes.
Or game or anything. So let's just focus on the Florida game, sure. There were still, like, the hope here to me is that Garrett Nussmeier can negate a lot of this. He can, first of all, pre-snap get you in a lot of the stuff you need to do, which Brian Kelly has said he's very, very good at, whether it's changing to a run, whether it's changing protections. You hope Braylon Moore will help with that, which I think he will. So you have that aspect of it. And then you have the actual passing ability and the playmaking ability of Garrett Nussmeier, to where if he is healthy, he can throw on the move with anybody in the country. I think he's one of the best in terms of throwing on the moves and just slinging the ball down the field. Now, obviously, he's not as fast as a lot of these other quarterbacks are, so he doesn't get out of the pocket as much. But I think he's able to make plays with his legs in terms of extending plays at times, and then you utilize that arm. So, in theory, this should be an offense that is not just reliant on screens. It's not just reliant on short stuff. It's not just reliant on going sideline to sideline. Like, you should be able to go vertical, especially because on paper, Ole Miss's like secondary doesn't scare you in a way. So this should be the game in terms of games against P4 opponents. You should be able to score more than 17 points. You should be able to get into the end zone 3 or 4 times here. And so I believe in Garrett Nussmeier enough to and kind of Brian Kelly as a head coach to not let Ole Miss just run out there and get 6 tackles for loss. I don't think that should be the case. If anything, run blocking is a bigger concern for me than the pass blocking.
Million
I have
percent.
to go get my charger. Y'all keep talking.
No,
My 1% computer.
he'll be yeah, it'll be gone. He'll be gone here in a second.
Yeah, that'll be me and Shea.
I will say I completely agree. I also wonder, and Bryce, what was it versus Clemson? It was like Nuss averaged like 2 seconds with the ball in his hands passing, which they had put up a stat during the Clemson loss to Syracuse that Angeli was at 2.1 in 3 seconds every snap. And it was, and they were going vertical too, but it was just quick drop back and I'm getting it out of my hands. And if you're playing a really good D line, or you're playing a really good front seven, and you're worried about pass pro, well, then that's the answer, obviously, and they've gone to it. I also think that people will, fans who are paying attention to everything, they'll get nitpicky on Joe Sloan for being too cute or this, that, and the other. Well, if you don't have an O-line that can run block, you kind of need some of this Jawan Johnson, Xavier Thomas, jet sweeps to Berrien Brown, whatever it is to happen, because you're sitting here telling me in the same breath, these fans, that Durham has no vision. And look, if he's not going to be able to run it in a traditional style pistol, whatever it might be, hell, they were getting under center versus Southeastern, but that they have already found ways to run the football that isn't quite traditional. So that kind of is a way to address the O-line issues. So I've at least seen that. Like Matty B said, I'm way more concerned if you can't run the football. But at least they have shown they do it in ways that aren't just Caden Durham 20 carries a game. And when they're running it, that you're expecting it every single time, and that it's very easy to stop, that there's some creativity to it that I think skirts around some of your O-line issues. I know Nuss can skirt around O-line issues. I've seen it before. So like I said, I don't know if you were there, Matty B, but I would treat this one like I did that Clemson game, which is how Syracuse attacked it. It was Nuss, 2 seconds to 2.5 seconds and the ball's out. And that doesn't mean everything's a screen or dump off, like you said, but I don't know. Also, I'm an EA. This is a side thought, but I do think they can go vertical with that approach. I'd also now just I would have Jelani Watkins in on every play because he runs a 10 flat.
He's fast.
And I would just have him run a vertical. And if you're going to tell
me
something out, we're just going to put a safety out there, great. Then Nuss knows at all times 2 players are on Jelani Watkins and he's out of every play if they decide not to, because Michael Van Buren short-armed that one. You got to throw that to the back of the end zone for a kid who runs a 10 flat that's going to run Team USA one day. So I would glitch it out just like a football game. It's probably in cost-benefit analysis the worst idea ever when you have 11 players, only 5 of which really touch the ball, that you take one of them away at all times. But
hey, but I don't mind it.
I loved seeing it.
I'm with you, Shea, in terms of, you mentioned how Syracuse attacked Clemson. You go back to how LSU attacked them. Brune, you and I talked about this at the Louisiana Tech game. Louisiana Tech did a good job of kind of sniffing out those screens, those underneath routes, the drag routes over the middle. That's something that I think you're going to have to utilize. And look, your guys are going to have to make plays, right? The second part of it, and you mentioned this, Brune, the addition of the vertical game, is if you can get Bauer Sharp up the seam, on some plays, if you can get these safeties who I don't think are very, very good at Ole Miss, if you can get some of these safeties to, have in the back of their head, hey, they could run something past us, and especially some of these linebackers that, can cover as well. If you kind of implement that a little bit, it doesn't have to be consistently. The bread and butter is what I was talking about earlier. It's Aaron Anderson over the middle. It's Xavier Thomas on the, the jet touch pass. It's Berrien Brown for, the 5-yard pass that he's going to turn into 15, 20 yards. That's the bread and butter of this offense. And that's that extension of the run game. It's like what Shea talked about. And gosh, I can't remember the exact number, but it was around that maybe 2.2 seconds to where he was, able to get it out. That's how you negate an offensive line that could struggle on the right side in terms of the pass rush. And it's also an extension of the run game. So it's really kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It allows you to be more innovative in the run game while also negating any potential defensive pressure that Pete Golding wants to put on you. So I don't know, Brune, if you're still comfortable with the screen game or if it's just not something you want to see.
Yeah,
I'm
fine with it still, because you do have Berrien Brown and Xavier Thomas, and they move the chains with it. The problem comes in when it's your only form of
Fair.
moving the ball and passing attack. So I will say just real quick, because I thought about this, they chipped a lot, especially when Weston was getting torched off the edge yesterday. They started chipping a ton. I think we're going to see that moving forward, no matter who's at right tackle. I think they're going to continue to have the running back over there and tight ends over there. Because they honestly didn't a ton in the first couple games. Like, there were times where they did, but it felt like against Southeastern, it almost became like paramount. It's like, no, we're going to at least give him some time. So that's one. And then the second thing real quickly is this game is still not in Tiger Stadium. It's not in Death Valley. And I understand every LSU fan will tell you, who cares? Ole Miss does not have a great home field advantage. You're still not playing at home. LSU is 8-9 under Brian Kelly when not playing in Tiger Stadium, and it's not a bowl game. Like, that's just what it is at this point. So we have to see them actually win the game, which is part of the reason why I picked them to lose at Clemson. But
I think that's a misleading stat. The defense has sucked up for every team he's ever had except.
How's that a misleading stat? They lost the games.
Yeah, well, it's not the same team right? Can't we say that this year's defense is a lot better?
We can say that Brian Kelly has not had his team ready to play in the past 17 very rarely in the past 17 road games.
All
like,
right.
It's a preparation thing to me. Like, you have to go.
This team is 1-0 on the road, and I don't really care. I'm not playing the transitive property game. In a week 1 game,
for sure, that's a
the
good
marquee
win.
Game of the weekend. They went into a very tough environment,
for sure,
and they won down the stretch, like
for sure,
in crunch time. So, I don't know. Y'all weigh in if you feel like, but I often think when you think about that, it's like, can your quarterback? Like, it all comes down to, can your quarterback handle that? I don't put LSU's defense on that anymore because they're really good.
Oh, I'm honestly not even talking about the actual game. I'm talking about Brian Kelly has, in 17 games as a head coach at LSU on the road, like, his teams haven't gotten. I've said this before, at Tiger Stadium, I don't pick LSU to lose because most times they're going to come out with juice and then they're going to get a second wind of sorts when they play at home. Like, it's just something we've seen. They've won games where they should have lost at home. That happens. They don't do that on the road. They don't win games they're supposed to lose. Like, you have to play well on the road consistently, and they haven't done that under Brian Kelly. It's just a fact.
I'm so against this argument being on Brian Kelly and rather on the team.
What is it on then? Why do they have a losing record on the road?
Then Jaden Daniels and Nuss aren't good because their records on the road aren't, combined to what you like. The defense has sucked.
We can say that and say they lost to teams that they should. Anytime they have not played in Tiger Stadium, there is a chance that they just don't come to play. They don't come prepared. USC last year, like, we can go down the list of road games where they have laid an egg, or they don't, or in the second half when a team swings at them, they don't swing back. Like, whenever A&M goes on a run last year, no response. Florida goes on a run last year. No response.
And a new quarterback came in. And
we can come up with excuses for any time, but the point
we're not
is,
talking about excuses. We're talking about reality.
When they play on the road and they get punched in the face, a lot of times they don't punch back. In the past 4 years, that's just a fact.
I don't know how much that has to do with Brian Kelly or versus the makeup of the actual roster. I can't see this team going on the road and not punching back. Okay. And I'm not crediting Brian Kelly for that. I think the players on the field.
Oh, I credit the coach big time in preparation for a game. We're not crediting a coach.
I'm talking straight execution. That's what. Okay, I'm not arguing about this. Bryce,
it's still a coaching thing.
Let me say this.
I can see both sides of this.
I didn't know it's just not a concern.
There's always a concern when you step away.
I think that's every team, right?
LSU at Tiger Stadium is one of the, if not the biggest home field advantage, right?
But we're not talking about home field.
So the difference in how they play on the road compared to at home, the fact that this game is at Ole Miss and it's not at LSU, is absolutely substantial in this game. Because over the past 3 years, we have a sample size that says LSU can be very, very inconsistent, and you don't know exactly what you're going to get from them on the road.
The difference, and I don't want to speak for you, Shea, so correct me if I'm wrong here. The difference is, I think, that Shea's confidence level and the fact that the personnel grouping that you have this year is vastly different. And maybe, Shea, I'll take it a step further. I will say this. This is maybe a shot at previous personnel you've had. I don't know what amount of preparation could have had you being able to play some of these teams because I just don't think the players were good enough.
Their
I
record
legitimately didn't
with
think you had the
this
talent.
team, their record with this team in those games would not be the same as it is. It would be better.
Okay, so we're just saying in all of these losses they had less talent
Not
than
all,
the other
not
team?
all. It's not. I wouldn't say all encompassing.
Because
No,
if
no,
it's just
I
about
wouldn't.
talent, then they should have beat USC last year in the opening game, right?
Fair,
But
yeah.
they didn't. They looked like trash. They weren't ready to play. Like
The defense
I
was
was thinking
terrible.
personally, I was thinking more of like, okay, go back to the last time they went to Oxford, right? That was what I was thinking. So to me, it's not an all-encompassing general statement of
no,
if
it's
they
not
had
an
this defense,
it's not an
then it wouldn't be an
encompassing
issue.
point. It's not a flat point that says LSU will not be ready on the road. The point is that we do not know what we're going to get from LSU away from Tiger Stadium because we have a sample size of 17 games that says sometimes they get punched in the face and they don't respond. Sometimes they beat Missouri on the road. Great win. Awesome. I love it. But sometimes they play like crap and they don't look ready to play football. I think that's completely fair to say that they are not as good on the road as they are at home, and we have to see them win a game in an SEC game on the road. And they beat Clemson. I love the Clemson win. Awesome win. Now let's see you do it again against Ole Miss if you're really one of the best teams in the country. I think that's
that's fair.
It's fair. I think what you're really doing is playing into the fan base's hands here of loving you, Matty B, and saying that the friendly confines of Tiger Stadium and how horrid is.
Oh, South Carolina. Hold on. Pull that back up. We're crediting them, South Carolina, where they clearly were not ready to play in that game. They came out looking like trash for the whole first half. And we're crediting them on the comeback. Yes, they came back.
Now you're doing the whole Marcel Reed argument you didn't like and saying we can't nuance games and how they unfolded.
No, the point is that they've been inconsistent. That's all I've been saying. The point is that they are not coming out and clearly beating teams that they're better than no matter what.
Inconsistent and citing a 500 road record are different things here.
They're 8-9 on the road. What do you want me to say? What?
Yeah, they had bad defenses.
Well, we don't know. Yes.
If I were sitting here telling you the Spurs were 25-70, and you're like, yeah, because they had crappy players.
I'd say they're ass. I'd say they're not good,
and they aren't going to have that record again.
I'd say, look, the Spurs 2017 went 40-1. The Spurs in 2017 went 40-1 at home. Away games, they lost all their, they lost away games. I could say when the Spurs played at home, they weren't losing. When they play on the road, shit happens. I don't know. Like that's just
the magic of Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, Tiger Stadium is the best home field advantage in the country.
1,000%.
And they're not playing there. Like I think that's fair.
That is fair.
This is yes or no question, and if I don't explain it right, please tell me, or I don't articulate it correctly. I'm neither here nor there. I'm just asking the question. You are valuing the 8-9 record. Which does that include? They wouldn't include. This is just SEC play, right?
No, it's all games that aren't bowl games.
All games that aren't bowl
games away from Tiger Stadium that aren't bowl games.
So let's say 7-9 because obviously the Clemson wins included in that, right?
Clemson winning makes it 8-9.
Okay, so let's say 7-9 for the purpose of this question. You're valuing the 7-9 data point through 16 games across 3 different years. Am I right?
Well, yeah,
over the one data point. Over the one data point with this unit. That's all I'm asking. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Neither here nor there.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. So I think the pushback from Shea is the fact that this group is way different. And so it's hard to just group this 2025 team.
Well, I think Shea's saying that they have more talent this year than like an Ole Miss and whatnot. And my argument is that they've had more talent than a couple teams that they've lost.
No, I'm saying they have more talent than they have had on like previously.
Well, they have more talent than Ole Miss, right? Clearly.
That's not even part of my conversation. I'm just saying that I don't think you can stack up. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah, I understand the record. I don't think that's on Brian Kelly as much in-game execution as it is that they just had a lack of players. Bryce said it. I don't hate to put it that way, but like,
I agree. This team is better.
You could say Blake Baker. He's the best out there. Blake Baker he could have made last year's defense, which was better than the prior two, the 60th best defense in the country. We're now talking top 5.
I agree. This team is better than the last 3 years.
You just trust the larger data point across 3 different variations of a team than the one with this team. The one data point. You trust the 16 over the 1.
In the sense that we need to see consistency from this team, and when they get punched on the road, win the game. Like
I don't think that statement's. I don't think I disagree with that specific statement.
No, I think it's tough for everyone to win on the road when you play good teams.
Thank you. Yes.
So what's the true bar then, right? Like,
I don't know. Look up who's good on the road in the SEC. That's not a perennial powerhouse.
I'm not even saying
year.
I'm not saying it's an LSU thing. Hold on, before anybody clips it. I'm not saying it's an LSU thing.
No one's clipping anything.
I'm saying
it's just
that
us.
The fact that LSU is not playing in Tiger Stadium is substantial, because LSU fans will be like, well, Ole Miss doesn't have home field advantage here. That's how I started this whole thing saying.
Yeah.
And I said LSU's 8-9 on the road.
Yeah.
So they need to win some games here if they're going to be a national championship contender. Like, you have to go on the road and beat Ole Miss sometimes. You have to go on the road. Like, you have to do some things that maybe they haven't done.
I thought we were arguing the same thing, and then I keep getting confused but I will just dumb it down to this take. Not dumb it down. I'm not trying to call anyone a dummy.
Degrading, Shea.
It was. Let me step back.
Time out. Put them on mute like we're on, what
that record indicates that anytime you go on the road that you think they have about a 50-50 shot of winning, I will side with knowing the hands you had on those 50-50 tries versus knowing what you have now. I'll take the 1-0. Yeah, I think I'll get to 1-0 more.
You value that more.
The Clemson game than the others.
The second part
if you're making me roll the die with these other teams that went across 3 years, 50-50 chance, I give them a better chance of 50-50 on the road this year.
The second part is that y'all are both, I don't know about Bryce, but y'all are saying it's not a Brian Kelly preparation thing. I say
no. I think it's
that's our
Jimmy's
that's
and
the
Joe's
main disagreement.
Here. I'm not arguing.
I think
Texas
it is absolutely ridiculous.
I wouldn't say across all 17 games it is.
It's ridiculous to absolve that.
I wouldn't say across all 17 games. I wouldn't say that. I think that the USC game that you alluded to, that's an organizational failure. That's what that was. But that's neither here nor there at this point. That was everybody. But I think there's instances where you're like, dang, if they had some dudes. Like I'll say, if you had some guys on defense 2 years ago in Oxford, you're not losing that game. Like there's no shot you're losing that game.
Oh my God. Okay, if they had a bunch of All-Americans on the field, they're not losing the game.
You didn't have to have All-Americans. You didn't have competent SEC players, and you didn't have that.
Yeah, I can't believe we're 2 years ago. We're absolving them not being prepared on the road at times. I think it's fair to say there have been it's the reason they haven't made the playoffs. Like they're 16-1 at home.
You have to have talent on both sides to make the play. Okay, I'm done with this. Bryce, take over.
Okay. My perfect franchise.
We can take this to the board. If anyone wants to fight with us over this,
my perfect franchise.
Your message board.
They do great stuff. Andy Luedecke is fantastic. Look, if you want to get in contact about what they have going on, now's the perfect time to contact Andy to learn more. Remember, his services are 100% free, and he's here to help if you have any questions about business ownership. And when you do, Andy is offering up a donation for all LSU baseball fans, $500 to $1,000 to the Baseball's NIL Collective if anyone from our site purchases a franchise. We think this is a cool opportunity for you to get involved. Also on both fronts in terms of baseball, like Jay Johnson needs it, but hey, anything can help with the way he's been recruiting lately. You can head over to myperfectfranchise.net to learn more, or you can text or call Andy at 404-973-9901. Well, that was riveting.
The first question for the mailbag this week, Hokomojo. Now that y'all have had a chance to sleep on it, where do you and Maddie B stand on the?
We gotta come back tomorrow and do the podcast.
Yeah, y'all come back tomorrow and doing that podcast.
My favorite part is that
the best part about this is we'll sit here and argue, and then we have to turn around the next day and do a podcast without you, Bryce. So it's might as well just not even be here right now.
Don't even have a moderator, and tomorrow we just go.
The people moderate it. We have to move on to the next question.
If they're listening an hour into this podcast, I'm glad we gave them something to
If they made it past
about.
Well, that started at the 48-minute mark. In fairness, so
I love it. Give 40. If you listen 45 minutes into the show and you got some juiced up now, you can come talk on our board. Let's do it.
Bryce, you're a great moderator, which is why you would never pick sides. It's like you're like Fowler, right?
He's
Or
on your
whenever
side,
they're
Shay.
like Herbie, they're like, "Oh,
I'm
I'm
just
calling
trying
the
to
game.
understand
I'm
both
calling the game."
sides.
Stay
No,
over
they're like,
there.
"I'm calling the game this week, so I can't make a pick."
Yeah.
Type thing,
Mhm.
like Reese Davis style, all that. So don't give it away. I would just say that people stop listening, Matty B, because nobody is in the middle of this argument. They're either on my side or yours, and they're so annoyed by the other person that they turned it off.
And I tell you, I think they're on. I think
Nobody
they're on Shay's
can
side
see both
because
sides of our
I think
argument.
they're on
Well,
Shay's side
it's
because they're
because
4-0 this year, and they're
I'll say
feeling good.
this. I'll say this. Shea has more of the Saban demeanor on the podcast. Where Brune, I mean, I didn't know if you were going to get down into a speedo and go jump off the high dive at any point during that argument. So that's what I was kind of concerned about. I just didn't know. I didn't know if you feel like taking the shirt off or what. And I didn't to prove your point. No, I listen, I interpret, and I try to understand. And that's why I asked the question. I wasn't asking that question to put you into a corner. I was asked the question because I just wanted to fully understand, where you were on that. And also, I'm not going to say what I want to say about LSU fans saying Ole Miss doesn't have a good home environment.
I just read on the message board they got a high school stadium, so
that's crazy.
there you go.
That's crazy.
Easy, light
that's
work.
Crazy. Yeah. Go in there and win by 20 then.
I'm ready for it. Let's go LSU.
Here we go.
Here we go. We're not true fans, Shay. That's the problem.
So.
We got told that in the postgame pod.
If he can be proved double right this week, if LSU doesn't,
I'm picking LSU to win.
Well, okay. It's fine because if LSU loses by 10 plus points, Brune will be happy. That's essentially what we've taken away from this podcast.
See, that's what Shay's going to do to me. He's going to be like, well,
no, I'm not.
Matty B's happy now.
Shay's just going to say,
what I'm going to do is if they win, I'm going to reference the 2-0 record.
I will
just say they're 9-9 now.
Yeah,
on the road.
Just win on the road, please. Just don't have an A&M or a Florida of last year or USC last year. Like, don't have those type of meltdowns, please.
That's fair. No, I hear
win
you.
The game. Just win the game.
What a pod. Sunday nights are awesome. Rewind, allow us to reflect. To think of all of this coming off the heels of just a drubbing of the Lions of Southeastern.
I had to spice it up.
Edo would have ripped that shirt off. Graylin, I don't know if you're talking about Edo would have ripped Brune's shirt off of his back or if he would have ripped his own shirt off. That's a high-quality T-shirt that Brune has. Matt sounded spicy.
We got to get some juice in this thing after a Southeastern game.
We needed a little bit. I can't wait for next Sunday.
Every week, I'm just going to find something else to start yelling about.
Yeah, well, last night it was Aaron
I actually
Burrell.
believe what I say. I don't just sputter.
Well, Shay, you missed it. Last night it was Aaron Burrell, but right before that on the post-game pod, he about lost it when the guy told us to get off the turf or get off the grass, natural grass.
They're cutting the grass, boys. Let's move.
Let's get out of the way. I
just like that a little behind-the-scenes view here. Bryce said, all right, boys, if y'all want to talk for a long time about Southeastern, we can, but this will be a short pod. And we've now gone longer than we have on every other pod, and it was after Southeastern. So
look at that.
True mailbag diehards know. You can never get it in under an hour, right, Matty? It's going.
Our mailbag is going to be 20 minutes tomorrow, Shay. I'm taking.
They're not even going to talk to each other for the first 5 minutes.
They're taking 4 questions, and we're getting out of there. I'm not sitting here for another hour.
We emotionally exhaust ourselves through the weekend by the Monday mailbag. We don't disagree about anything, and I don't really care about that argument.
I love you, Shay. That's a great answer.
We're good.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, check us out on all those podcast platforms. By the way, we're inching close to 8,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I believe we're about 100 away now. So continue to share with your friends. I'd love to hit 10K before the end of the season. We've continued to grow through the month of August. Great numbers. We're on track to maybe hit that in January, February, but we'd love to hit that before. So continue to support us there. Head over to the Bengal Tiger. You can get that first week for $1, and you get an annual subscription to the Athletic there as well. Great stuff. You can read about the fall of the Saints, the fall of the NFC South in general if you'd like. You can read about Brune's Spurs opening night in New Orleans, Smoothie King Center. It's going to be great. Or opening weekend.
Bengal Tiger meetup there in the Smoothie King Center. Everybody come through.
Yeah. Wimbenyama versus.
We'll buy a whole section out there.
You're buying the section? That's what you're doing?
No, like everybody's got to buy their own seats, and they're just going to be like in the same vicinity.
All wearing the Bengal Tiger hats. Everyone has to wear your Bengal Tiger hat.
Yes.
I do want to tease something I have not confirmed, but I can make happen 100%. That this is a great time to be a member of the Bengal Tiger on the message board this week and on the site in general, because you get to read, like you said, on the Athletic, you get to read every other On3 site. But I can promise at least one pod appearance. the legendary Billy and Body has to make an appearance somewhere this week, covering Ole Miss at On 3 for us and rivals. I actually thought on this like WWE ESPN weekend, Bryce, that you were going to pull some like glass shatter in the middle of Maddie B and I arguing, and then Billy drops in and calls us pal.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up.
But
yeah,
Billy, who I guess people have listened to on this pod, Maddie B, for
Years.
2-3 years at least. And if you were with us before, even longer. So we'll get Billy on the pod. Maybe every pod this week from here on out. We'll have to get Billy
Mailbag
to
just get him on.
Yeah, just be on. He'll
Let
bring
him
me
mediate
on this
next
side
Sunday
and
night.
LSU side.
Yeah, let him mediate next Sunday night's pod so we can talk about 8 and 9 or 9 and 9.
9.
There we go.
9 and 9.
We appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you on the message board where we can talk more about this. Crossroads says, dude, it's a 2:30 game. Relax, man. Relax.
I will never relax. It's SEC football, baby. We're here. Let's go.
Shea
He's
Dixon.
pulling the wit weeks. I wake up. There's only 12 Saturdays, man.
There's only
I
12.
get 12 of these.
There's only 12.
If someone can just edit and put AI Brune's face on top of Whit Weeks as he's saying that, I'll pay you. I'll pay you.
And
to
a
do that.
gold out game, a 2:30 game on the road. Watch out.
Watch out, dude. Shea Dixon, Matthew Brune. My name is Bryce Koon. We will catch you next time here on the Bengal Tiger Podcast